Good morning, and back again. What an absolutely cracking morning it is today. So got plenty to do outside, out and about. I've got a couple of days off work and I have got an absolute ton of things to do. So jobs for today: cut the hedge and trim out the veg plot and all of the trees. Because it's been so dry recently, I've let the grass grow up around the trees just to try and retain a bit of moisture. But with the amount of cuttings, clippings that we're going to get off this hedge, I'm actually going to mulch it down using our lawnmower, petrol lawnmower, and then the mulch from that is going to go around the base of each of the trees, and hopefully that will help retain some of the moisture. But I've used my strimmer before on some of the other videos. It's a Husqvarna. It's very, very good, very pleased with it. A lawnmower, very pleased with that. But I did buy a new piece of kit the other day. Historically, I've used electric hedge trimmers because we've never had anything so substantive that it needed anything with a bit more oomph. So I've got an electric pole hedge trimmer, which is okay, works well for privets, it's worked well for the conifer hedge, but it's destroyed my shoulder. And I decided it was time to treat myself to something that would be more efficient. That being the case, I went with this. So what have we got? We have the Titan T HT P26. All the details are there. I'm not going to go through it all. I aren't that into tech. I just want something that works. So in terms of any review that I do, it'll simply be on how well does this thing work for cutting that hedge. And we have probably about 60 metres of conifer hedge as well, Leylandii hedge, which needs doing, and that's up to about 12 foot high. So it's going to be put through its paces today. I've got to do this hedge first. I did use it partially yesterday just to trim up this side, just to see how it worked. I was quite pleased with it, but we'll see how it does with levelling off the top today and the opposite side. And then we'll move it on to the conifer hedge, which is over that way, later today. I'll see if I don't get absolutely roasted because it is quite hot. First things first, I've got to do some trimming to clear the veg plot. I want to get that done, and around the trees, because there's no point putting any clippings around them until that's done. But in terms of this thing, so far pretty pleased with it. It's quite weighty. This gubbins is quite useful. Don't know whether you can see that well enough. So that allows you to rotate the handle to aid with side cutting when you're up the ladders and trying to side up the hedge. Quite like it. Not really necessary, but did add a bit of interest to it. Weight wise, yeah, it's heavy, but not cripplingly so. And this blade, fantastic so far. We'll see how it performs over time, but it's going to get a right good hammer in today, so we'll see how that copes. The only niggle that I've got with it is I noticed yesterday, if I was cutting in an elevated position, such as upwards like that, sometimes the fuel seemed to choke getting into the engine, so it were almost like it weren't getting through and it had stalled temporarily. Only a minor blip, but it got a bit annoying a few times. That might have been something I was doing, but we'll see how that goes today. But yeah, that's the plan. So we're going to put that through its paces and do some of the other jobs that I need to do. It's basically a tidy up day, but it's a tidy up day that's going to take a lot of effort. So let's get cracking. just in case anyone asks, the reason for this is that we knew that we wouldn't get all of the seedlings and everything planted at the speed that we wanted to, and the vegetation, as you can see, is just romping away even though it's been a dry year. So we thought, right, okay, we'll cover it up and knock back the grass with this geotextile. We tried cardboard, it didn't work, just disintegrated when we did have rain, so obviously this works quite well. So I'm going to take that up next, and then I've got to fit some more cabling to this. Oh, still got some in. Marvellous. Okay, that's job number 1 done. On to number 2. So veg plot is done. Now we're going to go and do the trees. Right, job number 3. We're going to cut the hedge. This one. That'll be fun. Right, let's see what this hedge cutter can do. Pressing the kill switch. Well, I'd have to say I am very pleased with that. It cuts brilliantly compared to the electric hedge cutter that I've been using, as hopefully you can see. That would normally have taken me quite a bit of time to cut through that. Right, now I'll get the little step ladders and do this top bit, and then I'll have to get the big ladders to do the level the top off completely. But yeah, at the moment I'm very pleased with the hedge trimmer. I would recommend it. It is a bit weighty, and I would say the little twisty gadget, not really worth it, but It's a nice addition. I can use it if I want to. Right. Okay, that's it for today. Hopefully that's been at least a little bit interesting, although it has been mainly me doing a lot of jobs around the garden. The hedge trimmer, still pretty pleased with it. It is weighty and it does start to ache over time, but to be honest, it's not hurting my shoulder anywhere near as much as the electric pole hedge trimmer, and that's got no weight to it at all. It's just that the length of it is quite high, and you know, obviously it puts pressure on your shoulder when you're trying to reach up and then move across. Now the time that the weight obviously got bad with this new hedge trimmer is when you're 10 foot up a ladder and you're trying to cut siding up the side of the hedge at that point in time. Not so easy, but with the fact that it cuts so well, that just made it so much easier than the other one. It's got more power, that works. So it's definitely convinced me that petrol is the way to go. Electric, unless there's something out there with a lot more oomph than what I've got, which there probably is, but I'm not prepared to spend that ridiculous amount of money. I'll stick with this. So for the amount that cost, and that was £129, I'm happy with the performance. So right then, I think that will do for today, and I will sign off. Have a good evening wherever you are. Crack on.